On the requests of my subscribers, I have created the second part of How to Animate Like Iman in CapCut PC. Here's what we'll be editing today.
Think of it this way, in its most simple form. Investing is simply allowing your money to work for you and make you more money. It's about paying $10 for something today because you have a good reason to believe that you'll be able to sell it for $20 down the line.
Let's get into it. Step 1, create the background. First, import all the assets into the software. You can find the link to the assets folder in the description below. Once you've downloaded the folder, import it into your project. Next, import Iman's animated video to use as a reference to match the animation, then drag the blue background video onto the timeline. You might notice it's a bit darker than Iman's video. To brighten it up, go to the adjustment panel and increase both the exposure and saturation to 50. Now, it looks similar to the reference. After that, to match the length of the video, press Ctrl+C to copy the layer, then Ctrl+V to paste it. Delete any extra parts by pressing W and cutting off the right side of the video. Then, to add a bit of motion to our background, place an overlay on top of the background layer in the timeline. Trim the extra part of the overlay to match the length of the background. Next, go to the video section and reduce the opacity to 42. This will make it darker again. So to brighten it up, click on Mode under the blend options and select Brighten. Now take a look at the video. If the motion seems too fast, adjust the speed by clicking on the speed settings and dragging the slider to the left to reduce the speed. You can adjust it to your liking until it looks perfect. Finally, to keep our timeline clean and organized, select both layers, right-click, and choose Create Compound Clip. This will combine the layers and streamline our timeline. And there you have it. We've successfully created a dynamic and visually appealing background for our animation. Step 2, text animation. To add text, first click on the text tool and press the plus icon to add it to the timeline. Drag it to extend over the entire length of the video. Next, double-click on the default text and enter Investing. Click on the font, scroll down, and select the Sunday Masthead font. Then, to match the size of Iman's text animation, you can turn off the visibility of the background. Adjust the size of the text as close as possible to Iman's text by scaling it up. Turn off the uniform scale option to adjust the height and length individually to match the text size perfectly. Now it's time to animate the text. Go to the animation section. Select the blur right animation and set its duration to 8 seconds. Right-click on the text layer and create a compound clip. Add another animation, this time select the slide right animation and set the duration to 8 seconds. After that, add 2 keyframes, the first right after the animation ends, and the second on the 114th frame. To navigate quickly through frames, press Shift and the forward arrow to move 10 frames forward in one click. For the second keyframe, set the scale to 92. Then, to make the transition smooth, right-click and select Show Keyframe. In the Scale section, then click on the keyframe and select Auto Curve. Repeat the same process for the second keyframe by right-clicking and selecting Hide Keyframe, or you can press Alt+K to hide the keyframes. In the Basics section, enable Motion Blur and copy the settings to make your video smoother. Now, you have a smooth text animation. Next, add another text layer at the 57th frame. Enter your text and select the Tea Time font. Scale it down and position it at the top left of the previous text. Change its color to red. Go to the animation section and select the slide right animation, setting its duration to 1.1 seconds. After that, to ensure this text zooms out with the investing text, create a compound clip and add 2 keyframes, one at the start and the second at the same point as the keyframe in the investing text layer. Adjust its scale settings to 92. Now, everything should appear smooth and coordinated. With these steps, you now have a smooth and professional-looking text animation like Iman. Step 3. Add money PNG. Let's add the money PNG to the animation. First, take a look at Iman's animation to identify the exact point where the money comes in. At that point, add the money PNG to your timeline. Change its blend mode to hard light to achieve the same look as Iman's animation. Next, add a keyframe at the start and temporarily hide the layer. Observe Iman's animation and split the money PNG at the zoom-in point. Add another keyframe and change its position to the right to create a slide right animation similar to Iman's. To make the movement smooth, right-click on the layer, select Show Keyframe Animation, and change the keyframes to Auto Curve. You might notice an instant zoom-in effect. To replicate this, add the money PNG again and change its blend mode to hard light for a better look. As the money moves in and zooms, we will also zoom in on the text. Then, select both text layers and create a compound clip. Place your playhead at the zoom-in point and split the layer to only zoom in on this section. I forget to split the layer. After that, increase the scale and position and place the text on top. To achieve the upward movement and zoom out effect, add keyframes. Place the first keyframe at the start and the second keyframe at the 44th frame. You can quickly move 10 frames forward by pressing Shift plus forward. Drag the playhead to the first keyframe and position the money on the left side. Repeat this process for the second keyframe. Feel free to use these settings or add your own creative touch. Step 4. Line animation. While you could animate this line by masking, I found an easier way for you. Add a default text layer at the 157th frame. Instead of text, enter dashes and position them in front of the money PNG. Next, go to the animation section and add the Type 2 animation, setting its duration to 2.3 seconds. Next, add a $PNG and change its blend mode to hard light. This is what we have so far. Now select the text layer and create a compound clip, then adjust its position slightly. Pay attention to this part. Select the text, money, and line layers, excluding the $PNG, and create a compound clip. This will allow us to do a zoom out animation. Apply the hard light blend mode again. Add keyframes, and drag down the compound clip. Next, changing the keyframes to auto curve for smoothness. Now, we need to animate the $PNG. Add 2 keyframes, then place the playhead on the second keyframe and drag the money to the upper left side. Change its rotation settings to 360 degrees or 180 if you prefer. Add auto curve to the keyframes for smoother animation. Step 5. Dollar counting. To create a dollar counting animation, start by adding a default text layer at the 65th frame and enter $10. Select the Sunday masthead font. Turn off the uniform scale, then increase the height and scale it up slightly. Change the text color to black and decrease the opacity. Next, go to the animation section and select the slide down animation. To animate the text from $10 to $20, split the text layer. After every 1 or 2 seconds, select each layer individually and change the text to $11, $12, $13, and so on, up to $20. This will create a smooth transition as the amount increases. By the end of the video, you'll have a seamless animation that counts up from $10 to $20, adding a dynamic and engaging element to your project. Step 6, Glide Bar Animation. First, import the gold bar animation and cut the part you like. Remove the green screen and reduce the saturation of the green color in the adjustment section. This will eliminate any green edges around the gold bar. If you want to change its height, turn off the uniform scale and increase the height. Next, add keyframes and adjust the positions to match Iman's animation, or customize it to your liking. You might notice the gold layer isn't long enough to match the length of the main video. To fix this, duplicate the layer by copying and pasting it. Reverse the duplicated layer to create a seamless transition, making it look like one continuous layer. Adjust the keyframes and decrease the speed of both layers to match the video's length. Then, create a compound clip and play around with adjustments if you want. You can also add motion blur to make the animation smoother. At this point, we will create duplicate layers of the dollar and animate them using keyframes. Add 2 or 3 keyframes, place your playhead at the last frame, and drag the duplicate layer downwards and rotate it slightly as well. Repeat this process with the second duplicate layer to add dynamic movement to the animation. In the end, add auto curves to the keyframes and apply motion blur to the entire video. This ensures smooth transitions and a professional finish. Now, let's take a look at the final video. This is what we have so far. The animation is coming together nicely with smooth transitions and dynamic effects. Keep following along and don't hesitate to add your own creative touches to make it uniquely yours. If you want more tutorials on how to edit like this, and this, let me know in the comments below which editing style you'd like me to cover next. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.